What's up, folks? Today I heard about a news story that it just seems kind of goofy or whatever. It's not a big deal. But I went and looked at the comments, and of course the comments are all the most predictable, pearl clutching, hand wringing, oh my God, I can't believe men do this kind of stuff. And it's just absolutely, it just infuriated me because I'm so tired of seeing this double standard and hypocrisy out of women. I'll go ahead and play the audio of the news story for you so you can understand what I'm talking about.
The NFHS network dropped a commentator and press box staff over inappropriate comments.
According to Keisha, it happened during the halftime of the McPherson Rose Hill girls game on Saturday. In video from that match, you can hear the cursing and complaining about the game. The NFHS network says it removed the audio with those comments. Keisha apologized to students and coaches and says, quote, it does not tolerate the degrading comments about the teams nor the inappropriate comments relative to referenced spectators. Adding, comments do not the organization or the NFHS network. We reach out to the answering question and about the incident.
Whatever. Anyway, for some reason the Bluetooth in this truck does that sometimes. Basically what ended up happening was the announcer was saying something about how terrible the game was. The mic was supposed to be off. He didn't realize the mic was on. That's his fault. And yeah, whatever. He should get fired. But anyway, he's saying something about how terrible the game was. And so at some point, it's like, just kill me now. But then apparently, he and the person that was in the booth with him started, talking about the women that were in the stands watching the game. And, saying something about, at some point, it's talking about their curves, and it's something about, I wish they'd just rip their clothes off or something. Now, that's normal, goofy stuff. Now, two problems with this whole thing is that the way it was written in the story on Facebook, everybody was reading it as if they were talking about the girls on the field, and they were not. They were talking about the women in the stands, most likely their mothers or whatever. It does make a difference because, if at one point you're talking about adolescent or teenage girls in that manner, it makes it a little bit more disgusting, or it makes it disgusting. If you're talking about grown women in that manner, it's not disgusting at all. Now, women will say it is. They'll say it's the worst thing in the world and it's predatory and creepy and blah, 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 whatever. The fact is that every man does this. And it's like, he's not gay. He wants to see women naked. Every man wants to see women naked. That's why there's strip clubs. There wouldn't be strip clubs if men didn't want to see women naked. There wouldn't be porn all over the internet if men didn't want to see women naked. These are universal truths. It's always been this way. Ever since the dawn of man, they probably drew boobs on cave drawings in caves just so dudes could look at that. So that's the way it is. We're driven to have sex. But what gets me and what really upsets me is that the way the women act is that, like, they don't ever do this kind of stuff. Now, I don't know how many of you men have ever witnessed a hen party, but I'm going to tell you something. They're nasty. Women get together and they get nasty. They talk about things in very graphic nature and whatnot. They describe everything. They go into very, very, deep details about their sexual lives and about their partners. If your woman has female friends, every one of her female friends knows everything about your anatomy, every little blemish, every little shortcoming or endowment or anything impressive, whatever. They know it all. They know every bit of it. But what women don't seem to understand, I think women have a problem with projecting themselves onto men, and we don't talk like that. We don't do that. Usually it's like, oh, she's got nice tits, she's got a nice ass, whatever. That's the way we talk. And if you go on a date with a woman, when you come back, it's not what was it like, it's not 20 questions, it's one question. Did you fuck her? Did you fuck her? No. You're gay. If you did, good for you. That's the way it goes. That's the way all these conversations go. It's not a problem. And we don't go into big, deep details and whatnot. We don't talk about the mole that she's got under her boob or whatever. I mean, any of that nonsense. We don't talk about it. We just don't. But women do. Women talk about it all the time. They want to talk about that with, between, amongst themselves about us, but they can't stand the idea of us talking about that amongst ourselves, with our friends and whatnot about them. The thing is, they ain't got nothing to worry about because we really don't talk about that stuff. It's, once in a while you talk about certain things, but it's nowhere near. There's nowhere near the level of detail and personal details about the person that a woman will give to her friends. Men don't do that stuff. And these women are acting as if what these guys did in that booth was like, then they're all making the quote, well, it's just locker room talk. Well, it is just locker room talk. It's just normal stuff that men talk about. And it is stuff that women talk about as well. They just lie constantly. They're constantly lying to themselves, lying to their friends, lying to their husbands, boyfriends, whatever. They lie to everybody. That's why women can't stay friends with each other, because they're constantly lying. They cannot be honest about anything. Because if they were honest about it, they would be fair and say, you know what, we talk about this stuff too. It's not a big deal. But that's not what they're doing. They're getting all upset and clutching their pearls, and they're acting like they're innocent. They're innocent, pure people that, this is so offensive to. And I don't want to go into whataboutisms and whatnot, but at the same time, look at what's popular on the radio, or top 40 charts anyway, not really the radio, but top 40 charts, and what women are dancing to and having their children listening to and whatnot. I mean, some of this stuff is nasty, man. I am not offended by it, but my parents will be offended by it. I'm just, I like music, and I listen to a lot of the newer stuff that's out, and it is very, very graphic, very, very nasty. And, if you're going to get upset by this kind of thing, and you say, well, that's why women choose the bear. Well, that's the most ridiculous. I should make a video about that. But anyway, if that's what the kind of stuff you're going to say, then why are you listening to that kind of music? Why is it that it's all right on one hand, but it's not all right on the other hand? And that's what this video is about. It's about the hypocrisy that women display on a regular basis. It's okay for them to do something, but it's not okay for anybody else to do something. And they, these women are acting like this man is a predator somehow because he wants to look at some naked women. Like, man, I want to look at women. Most women think I'm a liar, or I'm just being funny or whatever, because I will tell them the truth. I will tell them the truth about me and about men, about how we talk, about how we do things and whatnot, because I don't give a shit what she thinks. I don't care if she thinks it's creepy or weird or whatever, and guess what? They don't. If you explain it to them, they don't think it's creepy or weird or any of that stuff. And I'll tell them all the time that, when I see women in public, I size every woman I see up, no matter who she is, every woman I see up. And I would say in this context, 95% of the women I see out there, I want to see them naked. Now, I might not want to see them naked twice, but I definitely want to see them naked once. Even the ugly ones. I mean, there's just some of them, though, that are way beyond the scope and be like, oh, no way. But, that, for the most part, most women, I'd be like, all right, I want to see them naked. If a woman wants to show you her titties or whatever, yeah, I'll look at them. I might regret it later on, but I'll look at them. I want to see that stuff. That's how that's what a man's nature is. You're driven to look at that stuff. You're driven to seek it. You're driven to do sex because that's how we procreate. That's how we keep the species going. That's how the world works. Everybody is driven that way, men and women, but mainly men, because we can produce more children. Women can produce children about once a year. A man can produce children every day of his life, as long as everything's functioning. So we're more driven to it than women are biologically. That's just nature. And to sit there and act like we should deny our nature and completely act as if that doesn't exist is weird, man. It doesn't make any sense. The thing is, in society, we have to deny our nature. We have to act with decorum and whatnot. And these people were trying to act with decorum. They just got caught on a hot mic having a private moment. That is not the same as if they had come out in the press conference and be like, man, I like her titties right there. She showed them to me. That's not the same. So, let's just stop with the nonsense. But, yeah, women always think that I'm full of it and whatnot, because I'll just tell them the truth, you know, because I don't really, it doesn't do me any good to hide it, because I'm going to, you know, I tell women, I'm going to look at other women. I'm going to do that shit. I'm going to do what I do, and I don't, you know, I don't have a problem with telling the truth about it. A lot of guys don't want to tell the truth. Sometimes some guys don't even know why they do certain things. I think people don't think about it that deeply, but, you know, that is why we do a lot of stuff, is that we're just driven by our nature to have sex and procreate, and that's how the world works. And to get mad because men make sexual comments about women, especially when women are constantly making sexual comments about men and in much more detail and more disgusting terms, it's ridiculous. So that's my 2 cents. I'll go ahead and get off this, and I'll see you in the next video.